Here we are again, folks. It's Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. So proud to be with you today. I'm glad the Lord allowed us to be able to do this. Looking in the book of Hebrews, in the last chapter, chapter 12 and chapter 13 and verse 16, chapter 12, and we're going to see some things about Christians. What is a Christian? What does a Christian do? In chapter 13 and verse 16, one thing a Christian does is he knows that he has not yet received all of the promises of the things that are going to be for him. He has received many of them, many of the promises throughout the Bible are for this earth. For instance, tithing is a thing that has a reward. He said if you give and give liberally and give like you're supposed to, first give the 10% and then above and beyond that, that God will give back to you, pressed down, shaken together from the windows of heaven by the hands of men, abundantly. And that has happened in my life. That is one of the things as a Christian that I have received and I do receive on this earth. That's a promise that is working for me now on this earth. But also that promise is that when I get to heaven, I will have a reward there. And Jesus said, I'm going to build you a mansion. And that mansion, he said, there are many mansions in my Father's house. And one of those mansions can be yours if you follow the Christian pattern the way you're supposed to follow it. Now, I believe that there are going to be people living in not squalor, but living outside of a mansion in heaven. If heaven's 1,500 miles square, who's to say how many areas, you could call them rooms, how many areas there would be in heaven, and how many people will have a mansion. Of course, in heaven, any house would be a mansion, but there are going to be mansions that are going to be above mansions, and that we see in these verses, in verse 13, a clear promise, a very clear promise in verse 13 here. It says, let us go forth, therefore, unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. Visitation. Visitation. Visitation is a very, very important thing for Christians. To visit outside of the camp of the Lord. What is the camp of the Lord? That's the building down there that we go to. That's the church building we go to, the camp of the Lord. And we go in there and we fellowship together. But the Bible said that there will be great reward for the man that visits outside of the camp. Go out into the world, the hedges and the highways, and visit and talk with people and do the things. And make straight the paths for your feet. Verse 13 of chapter 12. Make straight the path of your feet, lest that which is lame he turn out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Listen, we are to go out to those outside of the camp. A true Christian will visit. A true Christian will get out. He will talk. He will perform. He will perform. There are no secret disciples, my friend, in today's world. There are no secret disciples. I have people say to me quietly, listen, I have my own thing. I have my own way. I have my own thing that I do. And meaning they don't go to church, they don't go anywhere. And then I have people say, look, I can fellowship with the Lord while I'm out on the water fishing on Sunday just as well as you can in church. Yes, you can have fellowship, but it's not the same. It is absolutely not the same. Forsake not the assembling together, the Bible said, is the matter of some is. A true Christ-like person will be in the synagogue on the first day of the week. There is no record of Jesus ever not being in the synagogue on the first day of the week. When he was 12 years old, where did he go on the first day of the week? The day his parents left him behind. The first day of the week, he was in the synagogue. Many times you search it out and see if the first day of the week Jesus was not in the synagogue. You find Paul the Apostle. Find out if it wasn't the first day of the week. Paul the Apostle was in the synagogue preaching. Hey, we have examples before us, and we are to follow those examples and examples of what they did. The example is who they were and where they went, and the example is what they did when they went where they went. And they spoke up, and they were not quiet. Now another thing we have between verses 13 and 16, we can clearly see that we are persuaded. We are persuaded by the actions of those that were before us. We are persuaded by God that whatever he said is true. We are persuaded by what we've seen for others. Look at this. It says, for here have we not continued, for here have we no contending city, but we seek out one to come. He said we have no city here that is a Christian city that we're going to live in forever. We're just passing through. We are strangers in this earth. We are pilgrims and strangers in this earth. He said, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Now, if we're going to follow peace and holiness, and we are strangers in this world, then we don't have a continuing city. I work on my place here continually. But as I work during the day, I realize that what I'm doing, in one big sense of the word, is futile. It's futile. I don't know if God will use it. I don't know if it'll be destroyed before the millennium. I don't know if God will use it in the millennium for some kind of work. I don't know what it's going to end up being. I know one thing. I'm making it so if the Lord tarries is coming and I live long enough, that God will be able to use it here for some missionaries or for something to be used for. And that's what I'd like to see. It be used for something in that manner. And that's what I'm hoping for. That's exactly what I'm hoping for, that the Lord will do. Let us therefore offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. Let us offer praise as Christians continually. Are you a Christian? I tell you what, the lost man does. He offers up to the devil cursing continually. He offers up to the devil ravelings and fightings and everything continually. You and I as Christians are supposed to continually offer praise to God. There's no doubt today, I've been out. I've been out away from the house twice today. 3 times today. 3 times I had 3 witnesses for the Lord today. I went out 3 times. I saw 3 people. I witnessed to 3 people. Left a track in 2 of the hands. Left the words with another one. Our duty as Christians is that people know we are Christians. We're here temporarily, and we're not to embrace this world. We are to embrace the promises of God. Let's embrace the promises of God. Let's see if we can find one that says something about that. But him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is the fruit of our giving. But to do good and communicate, forget not, for with what sacrifice God is well pleased. God is well pleased with our communicating with others about him, about us praising him in the presence of others, and us letting people know right quick, like, hey, there's a better way of life. I just stuck my head in a truck today, a termite man. He's down there doing termite treatment. And by the way, I said, sir, I asked him a little something about ants, and then I said, sir, by the way, if you died right now, do you know whether you would go to heaven or not? And he said, well, I'm hoping to. And I said, well, you can know. And I took one of my little tracts out of my pocket that I always carry. I always have them, and handed it to him. And I said, look, you can do what that says in there, and you can know you're going to heaven. It is a gift from God, not of works, lest any man should boast. And I talked a little longer to him about that. But anyway, now we confess that we are earthly strangers. We confess to people, hey, hey, fella, this ain't it. This ain't it. And most people will say to you, you got it right. You got that right. This is a tough world to live in, and it is. And it's tough because the devil's in it. And we're looking for a home where there is no devil. We're looking for a city where the Lord said there's no devil. There will be no devil. And the Lord himself will be the light. Jesus will be the light that lights that city. There will be no night. There will be no need of going to sleep. There'll be no need. We'll be in an eternal body that will work 24 hours a day without sleep and without those things. He said, confess that we're earthly pilgrims, that you're a pilgrim. Confess to people that you are a pilgrim passing through this earth. And where do we find that? Let's see where we find that. Abraham was a stranger and a pilgrim. Isaac was a stranger and a pilgrim. We see that in Jacob was a stranger and a pilgrim. Joseph was a stranger and a pilgrim. We know Daniel knew that he was, and many others throughout the Bible knew that they were. And we are too. We're passing through, looking for a country beyond this country. And let's see another verse. Let's read verse 17. 16. No, 17. Obey them that have the rule over you. This is one I don't like. Submit yourself, for they will watch for your souls, as they that must give account. One day they're going to give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Pray for us, for we trust we have a good conscience, in all willing to live honestly. We need to live honestly. If you're a Christian, you need to live honestly. You work for an employer, you don't take things home. You work for an employer where you can eat food. You only eat that which you're allowed to eat, or you're supposed to eat. You don't eat continually there. Eat the man's profit out. If you're working for a man that sells pens, you don't take pens home with you every night. I know people that work in places that every single night they got a pocket full of screws, a pocket full of nails, a pocket full of something. Put them in their own personal box every night. Until now there's pounds of them. Well, those pounds still don't belong to them. They were stolen one nail at a time, or 2 or 3 nails at a time. And now you got pounds of nails. Don't belong to them. They really belong to their boss. If a boss had 6 employees doing that, and each one took a pound a day home, or just if all together they took 1 pound a day home, that means that every month he loses 30 pounds of nails. That's a case of nails. That's $46. And so it adds up. Not only that, it adds up in the Lord's on the scene. God is on the scene. God knows your every doing, what you do. He knows. He's the only one. He's not Santa Claus. He's better than Santa Claus. But he's the only one that knows when you're sleeping, and the only one that knows when you're awake. He's the only one that knows when you're good. He's the only one that knows when you're bad. He's the one that knows your heart and your mind. He's the one that knows you from the inside out. Let's look at some other thing. We are declared that we are supposed to seek heaven. We are not mindful of earthly things. Uh-oh, that one hits me right broadside in the head. We need to be very careful that we don't become mindful of earthly things and forget about godly things. Man, sometimes I'm so earthly minded, I don't get the godly things done. The Lord will let me get, if I have 5 hours a day just to work solid on this house, if I take 5 hours a day and go out and visit and do something, then I'm not under condemnation. But if I spent 8 or 10 hours, as I did today, working on this house, and I haven't been out and visited, I'm doing this thing on YouTube, but that's not the same. So I need to be careful. Not willing to go back into the world, desiring a heavenly country. That's a Christian. That's what a Christian is. Not desiring to go back into this world, but looking for a country that God himself has prepared for us. I got to go now. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. My time has come and gone. See you next time. Bye-bye.